Good morning, distinguished
สวัส
guests,
ดีค่ะ
value analysts,
ขอต้อน
media
รับแขก
friends,
ผู้มี
and
เกียรติ
our
นักวิ
Thai
เคราะห์
Union
สื่อมวลช
colleagues.
นและพันธ
Welcome
มิ
you
ตร
all
ไท
to
ย
the
ยูเนี
Thai
ยนทุก
Union
คน
Strategy
เข้าสู่งานกลยุทธ์
2030. My name
เพื่
is
อมุ่ง
Tina
สู่ปี
Supathikit Zetwigit,
2573
and
ดิ
I
ฉั
will
น
be
ชื่อ
your
สุ
MC
ภัทรกิจ
for today.
เจตทวีกิจ
สวัสดีค่ะ
รับ
ขอต้อนรับ
หน้าที่เป็น
แข
พิ
ก
ธี
ผู้
ก
มี
รใน
เกีย
วั
ร
น
ติ
นี้
นั
นะ
กวิ
คะ
เคราะห์สื่อมวลชนและพันธมิตรไทยยูเนียนทุกท่านเข้าสู่งานเปิดกลยุทธ์เพื่อ
Good
มุ่ง
morning,
สู่ปี
distinguished guests, value analysts, media
2573
friends,
นะคะ
and our Thai
ที
Union
น่าสุภั
family.
ทรกิจ
Welcome
เจ
to
ตวิ
Thai
กิจ
Union
รับหน้า
Strategy
ที่พิธีกรในวันนี้
2030. I
ค่ะ
am Supathakit
and we
Jetwigit, and I am your MC for today.
original audio as well ก่อนที่เราจะมารับฟังรายละเอียดงานในวันนี้นะคะทีน่าขออนุญาตแจ้ง
Before we
ให้กับ
begin, I
ผู้
would like
เข้า
to
ร่วมงาน
remind
ทุ
the
กท่าน
audience
ทรา
that
บ
we will
นะ
be
คะว่า
conducting a
การ
presentation
นำ
in
เสน
two
อ
languages, English and Thai. If you require an interpreter, kindly collect the headsets in front of the entrance hall. And if anyone has any questions, anyone who is in this ballroom, you can scan the QR code and also hit the more button. Don't forget to unmute the original sound as well.
And for the Q&A session, if anyone has the questions who are in this ballroom, so could you please scan the QR code through the press release that you just have received. And for those watching via Zoom, you can click the link in the chat box นะคะสำหรับใครที่มีคำถามในช่วง Q&A session ตอนท้ายนะคะ
If anyone has
ใน
any
ห้องนี้
questions
สามารถ
in this room, you can scan the QR code through the press release that you have received. And anyone joining us through Zoom, you can scan the QR code in the chat box as well.
So I have to say that it's my honor to have you with us as we unveil this pivotal chapters of the Thai Union journey, a chapter that we redefine by resilience, bold ambition, and transformative growth. วันนี้นะคะต้องบอกว่าทีน่าเองขออนุญาตเป็นตัวแทนของทาง Thai Union นะคะ
I
และ
am
รู้สึกเป็น
standing
เกียรติ
here
อ
on
ย่างยิ่ง
behalf of
นะคะ
Thai Union.
ที่
I'm
แขก
very
ผู้มีเกียรติและ
privileged
สื่อมวลช
to
น
have
ทุ
you
กท่า
all
น
with
ให้
us
เกียรติมาร่วม
as we unveil this pivotal chapter of Thai Union's journey, a chapter that is defined by resilience, bold ambition, and transformative growth. We're going to take you through this journey with us.
ต้องบอกเลยนะคะว่าสำหรับ Thai Union เองหลายท่านน่าจะทราบกันดี
Many
แล้ว
of you
ว่า
probably
เป็นห
know
นึ่ง
that
นะคะ
Thai Union is one of the leaders in ambient seafood.
decades, Thai Union has built a legacy as a leader in the global seafood industry. Thai Union now has more over than 18 brands, 15 production locations, and 3 innovation hubs in 13 countries across 4 continents. Thai Union brands such as Chicken of the Sea, King Oscar, John West, Malibu, Petit Navire are all the customer favorites and market leaders. And over the years, we have to say that Thai Union has navigated both calm seas and also the tidal wave as well, pushing the boundary and redefining what is possible. But in an era of volatility and challenges, sustaining leadership requires more than just navigation. It's call for a new course toward the brighter horizon. อย่างที่ได้เรียนไปแล้วนะคะว่ากว่า 5 ทศวรรษที่ผ่านมาไทยยูเนียนเองถือเป็นผู้นำค่ะ
For nearly 5 decades, Thai Union has built a legacy as a leader in the global seafood industry. Thai Union has now over more than 18 brands, 15 production locations, and 3 innovation hubs in 13 countries across 4 continents. Thai Union brands, such as many of you know them, such as Chicken of the Seas, King Oscar, John West, Malibu, and Petit Navire. They are customer favorites and market leaders.
ใจผู้บริโภคทั่วโลกมาอย่างยาวนานและก็เป็นแบรนด์ชั้นนำในตลาดด้วยเช่นกัน
And over the years, Thai Union has navigated both calm seas and tidal waves, pushing boundaries, redefining what is possible. But in an era of unprecedented challenges, sustaining leadership requires more than just navigation. And it calls for a new course for us towards brighter horizons so that we continue to be a leader.
ในครึ่งชั่วโมง1 ชั่วโมงครึ่งหลังจากนี้ไป
In the next hour and a half, we'll uncover the answer
In the next
together.
1.5 hours, our speakers from Thai Union will present strategy 2030, a strategic plan which outlines Thai Union vision, ambition, and actions. This gonna unveil how Thai Union will turn the tide to thrive amid change and also make the leap forward, overcoming challenges to achieve the continued success. เพราะฉะนั้นแล้วเนี่ยนะคะก่อนที่เราจะไปรับฟังรายละเอียดของ
Before we begin and learn about Strategy 2030, let's kickstart things off with a video to provide a sneak peek of what we'll be sharing with you today.
So let's kickstart with a video to provide a sneak peek of what we will be shared today. ขอเสียงปรบมือดังๆให้กับ VTR ชุดนี้เลยค่ะ
A big round of applause, please.
Economic, geopolitical, and consumer shifts are reshaping the world. But with change comes opportunity. For nearly 5 decades, Thai Union has been at the forefront of sustainable seafood. We know that thriving in this new reality means more than just adapting. It means rising to turn the tides in our favor. Taking the helm towards a strategic course. Strategy 2030 charts a new era of growth. Our vision is clear: to become the world's leading marine health and nutrition company. Through a robust strategy and with consistent execution, we aim to achieve $7 billion in sales and $700 to $800 million EBITDA by 2030. To revitalize our core, we must turn the tides of today by reigniting growth across key markets. This includes strengthening our presence in the European branded ambient market, while potentially exploring inorganic growth, investing to scale our chilled products, and exploring upstream participation, driving commercial excellence in global OEM ambient to better serve our private label customers, winning in the Thailand feed industry, scaling operations in Indonesia, and growing our share and margins in the US branded ambient market. We're driving the next wave of growth by doubling down on high-margin businesses. We are building commercial and manufacturing excellence while pursuing inorganic growth in pet care, expanding and diversifying OEM frozen operations in Thailand, growing high-margin, value-added frozen products in the US, boosting culinary excellence and innovation, and strengthening commercial capabilities in ingredients. Exploring new frontiers is how we're paving the way for future success. In aquaculture, we're investigating technological solutions and efficient farming techniques. In pet care, we explore emerging pet-related technologies. In alternative proteins, we actively track advancements and technologies to further our presence. Catching the wind in our sails of progress. To achieve Strategy 2030, we must bring it to life through action. Aligning our organization and driving talent initiatives to operate as one Thai Union. We'll focus on costs, optimize our manufacturing network, and drive strategic procurement from ocean to table. We'll step up digital capabilities and leverage growth-driven innovation. We will also continue to commercialize our sustainability leadership. We are ready for a new era of growth, working together to turn the tides and chart the ocean's next chapter towards leadership in marine health and nutrition. Our journey is one we take together. With a clear vision, we stay focused, execute with purpose, and turn our vision into lasting success.
ขอเสียงปรบมือดังๆให้กับเป้าหมายใหม่ที่ยิ่งใหญ่ของไทยยูเนียนหลังจากนี้นะคะและอย่างที่ทุกท่านได้เห็นภาพกันไปแล้วนะคะว่าวันนี้เราพร้อมแล้ว
And as you've seen,
ที่จะมาเปิดเผยรายละเอียด
we are ready to share the strategy
ให้สู่เป้าหมาย
for 2030.
2030 ให้กับทุกท่านได้ทราบกันนะคะ The The VTR that just ended has told the story of Thai Union targeted success that you all will get to see. And today, we are honored to have 4 executives who will provide in-depth information that we believe all our distinguished guests and also members of the press have been waiting for. แล้ววันนี้อย่างที่ได้เรียนไปนะคะว่าทุกท่านจะได้รับทราบถึงรายละเอียดและแผนงานต่างๆ มากยิ่งขึ้น ซึ่งเรานั้นได้รับ
We know you're all waiting to listen to our 4 executives who are going to join us today, who are going to share our journey with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our 4 speakers for today. First, Mr. Thirapong Chansiri, President and Chief Executive Officer of Thai Union Group. Next, Mr. Ludovic Garnier, Chief Financial Officer of Thai Union Group. Next, Mr. Paul Herhorst, Chief Strategy and Transformation Officer of Thai Union Group. And last but not least, Mr. Roy Chan, Chairman of Executive Committee of ITEL Corporation. And today, our speaker will discuss 4
วันนี้นะคะ
chapters, which gonna begin with Chapter 1, Rising Against the Tidal Wave of Change. Chapter 2, Taking the Harm Toward the Strategic Course. Chapter 3, Catching the Wind on Our Sails of Progress, which gonna unveil the Project Sona and Project Tailwind. And end with the Chapter 4, Charting the Ocean's Next Chapters. And without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Thirapong Chansiri, President and Chief Executive Officer of Thai Union Group on the stage. ขอเสียงปรบมือต้อนรับคุณธีรพงษ์ค่ะ
Please give him a big round of applause.
Sawadee krab, and good morning, everyone. I'm so delighted that you could join us this morning. And today, please be welcome to our Strategy 2030 presentation under the theme, Turning the Tide. As we all know, the world is no longer the same, and things has changed. Change is the only constant in today's world, and our industry outlook is ever changing. While external forces present significant challenges to our journey, we also acknowledge the area within our organization where we want to enhance our agility, adaptability, and performance. And we will address these challenges and changes head on, seizing this opportunity to chart a course towards a more resilient future for Thai Union. Look at the world economy. It's all very weak. GDP growth is low everywhere, but the consumer prices have spiked, leading to low demand and crunched consumer spending. The impact of geopolitical tensions are impacting trade flow and supply chain. While there are these challenges, we also see opportunities brought about by evolving consumer behavior, from greater focus on health and nutrition, to seeking more premium offerings and spending more in their pets. Of course, we also recognize the need to look inward, to find ways to improve our current business and ways of working. And this is the start of Thai Union transformation. Our ambition is to counter the challenges and seize the opportunity now with our transformation to accelerate our growth. Historically, when I look back 47 years, Thai Union journey was defined by rapid growth, built on agility and seizing white space opportunities. We expanded our business and pushed boundary geographically through acquisition. However, the challenging macroeconomic environment, together with our internal business complexity and cost pressures, have shown us the need for deeper transformation to stay resilient and future-focused. And we want to rise to the challenge. With Strategy 2030, our target is to bring revenue to $7 billion US. And with a clear implementation plan, starting with building a strong growth foundation, I'm confident that we will deliver on Strategy 2030 and achieve our $7 billion revenue target. Revenue growth to $7 billion US is based on 10% growth rate. This includes $1 billion of inorganic growth and $6 billion of organic growth with CAGR of 7%. But we just don't look only at the top line. Our bottom line ambition is also to double our EBITDA to $700 to $800 million US, uplifting our profitability. Importantly, Strategy 2030 set us on the path of achieving sustained and long-term growth. This ambition is backed by a robust strategy, dedicated team, and clear execution roadmap, which we will show you today. Our purpose is bold and profound: healthy living and healthy oceans. With this purpose as our North Star, we are committed to our vision of becoming the world-leading marine health and nutrition company, a role that goes beyond our position today as the world leader in seafood. Our aspiration to achieve our vision is to lead the global marine industry while driving superior shareholder return, to build a diversified marine-focused portfolio that expands beyond seafood, and to shape the future of nutrition for both human and pets, building sustainable and healthier future for our planet. Strategy 2030 will propel us in this direction. And now, I will pass over to Paul Herholz, who will talk us through the details of Strategy 2030. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Khun Tirapong. Good morning to everybody in the audience here, and thank you very much for being with us today. Two points, two words that stand out that I would like you to remember: growth and execution. Growth. Strategy 2030 is clearly positioned as a growth strategy, just in line with the vision that Khun Tirapong just presented, to become the world's leading health and marine nutrition company. Execution, we also have very clear execution plans, and we will introduce you today to two transformation programs that we have launched as part of Strategy 2030 that will play a key role in our growth journey ahead. Our strategy, as shared, is a growth strategy. We believe there's significant organic growth and inorganic growth that we can capture. Where does it all start? It starts with the why. It starts with understanding what it is that drives us. We are very clear on our purpose: healthy living, healthy oceans. Here you can see that our long-term strategy go hand in hand with our sustainability strategy, Sea Change 2030. Our vision is to become the world's leading marine health and nutrition company. Now, what does that mean? We will continue to be a global seafood player. That's the core of what we do. However, we also want to extend beyond. We want to understand what the oceans and the marine ecosystem have to offer, and we want to leverage that. All of that will come with clear financial aspirations that set us up and that makes us very confident to share with you today that there's a journey ahead for long-term sustained growth. What are the 2030 strategic priorities? 3 main pillars here. The first one, revitalizing our core business. The second one, driving the next wave of growth. And the third one, exploring new frontiers. Revitalizing the core is about our core business. We have a firm belief there's growth in our core business. Here, this is our primary business categories that we believe that will not just sustain Thai Union in the future, but they will generate the cash that is required to fund the journey ahead. This, ladies and gentlemen, is our branded ambient and our OEM ambient business. It's part of our frozen OEM business. It's our chilled business, and it's our feed business. Driving the next wave of growth, these are some of the newer businesses in the Thai Union universe. These are some of the businesses with a much more attractive margin profile. And these are the faster growing businesses that we believe will continue to drive profitable growth in 2030 and beyond. Lastly, it's exploring new frontiers. Here we want to understand, we want to learn, and we want to explore what ideas and technologies are out there in the future that may play a role for our growth journey ahead. We will look at aquaculture, we will look at pet care, pet technologies, and alternative proteins. Now, being clear on the why, on what drives us, being clear on what and where to play, we're also very clear on the how. We're clear on how we want to win. Here we have identified a set of critical enablers, we call them must-dos, that we know we must address in order to be able to thrive in 2030 and beyond. That, ladies and gentlemen, is in short our corporate strategy, our framework, and I will now share with you a few examples of organic growth and inorganic growth that we're excited about, but that we're also passionate about and that our teams are already working on. On the organic side, we start here expanding branded ambient business in key markets. This is not just about defending our core markets or regaining lost market share. It's also about revitalizing some of our brands through a much higher marketing spend compared to the past. This goes for our brands in the UK, John West, Petit Naver in France, Male Blue in Italy, or Chicken of the Sea in the US, or the Select brand here in Southeast Asia. We also want to play a role in the premium segment with our brands Genova in the US and King Oscar. Similarly to the branded ambient OEM space, comes scaling up in the OEM space. Here, it's about driving commercial excellence, putting all of our efforts globally under one umbrella, under one business unit, and being close to our private label customers and working with them across the key markets. Customer centricity is crucial, being close to our customers, understanding what it is that they want, and helping them co-create solutions. Feed, Thai Union Feed Mill, one of the 3 listed companies in the Thai Union universe. Here the mission is very clear. We want to win in feed. We want to expand and further build on shrimp and sea bass feed here in Thailand, but we also intend to double down on the feed business in Indonesia and continue scaling up our operations there. Pet care, Roy will share with you on Project Tailwind. Project Tailwind is part of our organic growth efforts in pet, and here it's about expanding sales for premium wet food and treats through, again, customer-centric innovation, being close to our customers, understanding what it is they want, and help them developing products that we can then bring to markets. Lastly, it's becoming a culinary powerhouse. For the ones of you who follow us, you know we recently opened our culinary factory here in Thailand, and we want to double down on these product offerings, on ready-to-eat meals, on frozen meals, but also some of the value-added products, and we want to bring them to our global markets as One Thai Union and in a One Thai Union approach. On the inorganic side, Khun Thiraphong shared earlier this year that M&A is back on the agenda. Over the past decade, Thai Union has grown through inorganic growth. The last few years, we have taken a bit of a pause and reflected of what is working, what can we build on, but also what do we need to improve. And now in our strategy, there's a clear path to inorganic growth. $1 billion approximately of the $7 billion in revenue will come from inorganic growth by 2030. And currently, we're putting in place an M&A strategy in line with our corporate strategy. We're working on a clear investment thesis, and we're studying what opportunities there are out there that can supplement our business. Pet care naturally will play a key role here. One could say a priority. Our colleagues in ITEL have announced an ambitious journey for 2030, whereas half of their growth will come from inorganic growth. Here we want to grow by accelerating entry to new markets, but we also want to acquire capabilities we may not have today. We are considering should we play potentially a role in the branded space, and so on. Ingredients will play a key role in the future. Here, through M&A, through partnerships, we're looking how we can broaden our product portfolio, how we can gain access to customers, how we can expand our customer base, and also how we can enhance capabilities. Branded ambient seafood also sees opportunities for inorganic growth. Here, 2-3 areas that we are curious on. One, supplementing some of our brands and markets that we are operating in today. 2, potentially going into new markets that we are not in today. And 3, exploring more of premium brands that are out there that can supplement our brand portfolio. On the frozen OEM side, as you know, we source predominantly our raw materials from Thailand and from India. There is an opportunity for us to explore alternative sourcing countries in other parts of the world where potentially we can source from, process, and eventually go to market, because there are countries out there that don't have the same tariffs and duties boundaries that Thailand has in certain areas. Lastly, aquaculture. In aquaculture, we will continue investigating technology opportunities, but we will also try and understand what are some of the upstream participation opportunities for us for our chilled business in Europe. Today, we are a pure processor. We will look at the value chain. We will see, does it make sense for us to be part of fish farming, for example. These organic growth and inorganic growth examples are what we feel are part of the strategy. We are excited about that. As shared with you, our teams are already working on them, and we have plans in place to deliver on these objectives. With that, we, as Thai Union, we are confident to stand here today to share with you our strategy. We believe there's a clear ambition for sustained and long-term growth. We have an implementation plan by being clear on understanding what drives us, by being clear on where we want to play, and most importantly, being clear on how we want to win. Without execution, strategy is just words on paper. Thai Union has always had good strategies. We've always been clear on what drives us and where we want to play. but there are opportunities for us to do things differently on how we execute and how we win. For us, it's how we bring it to life that truly counts. And with that, we are doing things differently this time. We are supporting our growth strategy with clearly defined plans on the execution side. As you can see, the umbrella is our Thai Union 2030 strategy. Within the strategy, we have launched 2 major transformation programs. We have launched Project SONA, a 2-year program, a group-wide transformation program. We've also launched Project Tailwind, a 3-year program, and it's a category-specific transformation program. SONA will address Thai Union Group as a whole. SONA will address the way we operate, the way we're structured, and the way we work. SONA will deliver $75 million in annualized savings from 26 onwards. Some of that money will be reinvested into the business. Tailwind is a growth acceleration program for i-Tail in the pet care space. Heavily commercial focused. Roy will share more about it. And here we believe from 27 onwards we can deliver about $50 million in annualized OP. As you see, we're already well on the way. We have started these transformations earlier in the year, and they are the largest transformation this organization has seen. I must tell you, me personally, I'm very inspired, I'm excited, and I'm proud to be part of this journey because there's not a lot of organizations out there that are driving such large-scale transformation. Now, over the course of the next chapter, myself, Ludo, Roy, we will share with you more about SONA. We will walk you through the details, and we will share with you about Tailwind and the details here as well. The first transformation program is SONA. As I shared with you, it's a Thai Union group-wide transformation program that will help us laying the foundations for growth for us to deliver and execute on our 2030 strategy. SONA will address the critical enablers I mentioned before to build the foundations for growth. It's the first step in our journey. Firstly, we will align our organization and drive talent initiatives to make sure we have a structure in place that enables us to deliver and that we have the right people in the right roles to execute. Secondly, we will drive a relentless cost focus. We need to be more competitive in the markets we operate in, but we also need to take costs out of the business to be able to reinvest to fund the journey ahead. Third, being a manufacturer, we want to optimize our footprint, our network. We want to see how we can drive efficiencies in our network. And given the scale of Thai Union, we also want to drive one global strategic procurement program. Digital will play a key role. We know we need to step up our digital capabilities with data, with insights, and with automation. We are at the beginning of a digital transformation journey, and a digital transformation will play part of the Thai Union transformation. Innovation has been at the core of what Thai Union does and will remain at the core of what Thai Union does. As you know, we have our Global Innovation Center here in Thailand, in Bangkok. We recently opened a branded ambient innovation hub in Europe. And for us, it's all about being close to our consumers in the branded space, to our customers in the private label space, and understanding what is it that the demands are out there that we can fulfill, and how we can work with our consumers and customers to create solutions that ultimately the consumers will buy. Lastly, sustainability. Sustainability is at the core of what we do. And here it's not just about doing the right things, it's also about commercializing sustainability, leveraging our leadership position that we have in the seafood industry, becoming the supplier of choice for our retailers and partners by being able to offer them sustainable solutions, and then ultimately driving more sustainable choices for our consumers globally. Sona was launched in April this year. Before that, we did some diagnostics work from the beginning of the year. Sona is clustered in 4 integrated work streams. The first one being on the operating model and being called Fit for Growth. Here, it's about creating an operating model, an organizational structure, and ways of working that are simple, that are lean, and that are fast, and that again enable us to execute on our strategy. In procurement, we want to go to the market as one Thai Union. We want to include as much spend under a global procurement program. We want to drive cost savings, and we also want to enhance our own procurement capabilities and build an organization. Operations, this work stream is about assessing our manufacturing network, assessing our capacity utilization, what are opportunities for improvement there, whether it's within the factory or within the supply chain. And lastly, we have launched a digital transition. We have a work stream where we have put the digital foundational capabilities in place that we believe are needed in order to drive a full, large-scale digital transformation in the years to come. With that, we're confident to stand here today to share with you that Sona will deliver $75 million in annualized savings from 2026 onwards. Some of that money will be reinvested, and I'll come back to that. Large share of the savings will come from procurement, about $50 million in annualized savings out of procurement. And we can already see progress here by going to the market as one Thai Union by driving a strategic procurement program. $20 million will come from our operations work stream. As I shared with you, we are assessing our capacity, we are assessing our utilization, we are assessing how we can optimize our ways of working within the 4 walls of manufacturing and within the supply chain. Lastly, any transformation program that boosts organizational strength, that increases organizational efficiencies, and drives productivity within the global organization will also come with savings. And here we believe that we can deliver $5 million in annualized savings on the Fit for Growth work streams. That in total is $75 million by 2026. We are confident to be able to deliver that. Some of that money, around 40%, we will use to reinvest into the business. We will need to fund our 2030 strategy. There are strategic priorities that require funding. We are already investing more in marketing for our branded business, and we already have made first strides here. Innovation, I shared with you, is at the core of what we do, and we want to continuously invest in innovation. Digital will require funding over the years to come. People capabilities, we have to upskill in areas like digital, like procurement, like post-merger integration when it comes to M&A. And lastly, we have firm commitments on sustainability, and we need to fund the journey. Ludo and myself will now share with you a slide on each of the work streams to give you a bit more details of what to expect. Fit for Growth, as I shared with you, it's about creating a robust operating model that is aligned with our 2030 strategy. Operating model, synergies, efficiencies, these are all complex terms. Some would say consultant lingo. What we really want is one Thai Union that is lean, that is simple, and that is fast. And that is what we intend to achieve with Fit for Growth. What we want greater customer and consumer intimacy. We want an organizational structure that enables our teams to be close to our consumers, understand what it is that they want through insights, but the same to be close to our customers to co-create solutions. Of course, we want to maximize synergies of the power of the one Thai Union value chain. We want to leverage the economies of scale this organization has, and we want to make the best out of it. We will simplify the operating model. We are looking at inefficiencies and how we can make ourselves more efficient, more simple, more lean, more fast to accelerate on the growth journey. And lastly, in Thai Union, we have a very strong people base. We have very strong and capable people, but we also know there are areas where we need to upscale. I shared with you digital, I shared with you procurement, I shared with you post-merger integration. Here it's about attracting and being able to cultivate the talent for Thai Union. How are we faring on the execution side? We have started this workstream in April this year, and we're about to go live in January 1 with a new operating model, with a new organizational structure that is built around business units, or you can call them growth platforms, supported by corporate functions and central shared services. One Thai Union operating model. All of our business units will be part of that operating model. We're also looking at our governance framework. We're looking at how we can make decisions globally faster and how we can enable our teams to deliver and execute in line with our plans. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what Fit for Growth is about. We will deliver approximately $5 million in annualized savings from 26 onwards, and you will see that in our G&A spend moving forward. I now hand over to Ludo. Ludo will share with you about procurement, operations, and digital. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Paul. I'm delighted to be with you this morning. I think we have a lot of good news to share with you. So I'm here to elaborate a bit more on the second pillar of the Sonar project, which is procurement. Procurement is, for me, one of the most exciting work streams that we have within Sonar for different reasons. The first one is, obviously, in terms of savings, this is the biggest work stream. And as a CFO, I'm always happy with this kind of initiative. So here, the idea is to have procurement fueling the Thai Union transformation program. But it's not only about numbers. The idea is also about capability building. And we have to acknowledge that in terms of procurement, we have some room for improvement. It's a very nice opportunity for us to move from procurement, which was maybe a bit tactical, to move to something which is much more strategic, to move from our people from a pure purchaser role to a category managers. So very excited about this one. We started already the journey. A few years ago, we did centralize our fish procurement team. Here we have a new directors of procurement taking care of the non-fish procurement. A lot of good things on this part. So what do we want to achieve in this work stream? First of all, we want to standardize our procurement across the group. Right now, it was not fully standardized. We want this to be really standardized within the whole group. As I mentioned, we want to enhance our procurement capabilities. And of course, we want to generate around $50 million of savings from this work stream. How are we going to execute this work stream? First of all, we will procure as one Thai Union. And I will elaborate a bit later about what do we mean with that. The team already identified 100 plus initiatives across 15 categories to be executed in 3 waves on the next 18 months. We want also to move to rapid and strategic sourcing, as well as scaling up the value engineering. So I just want to give you one example of this initiative on secondary packaging. And secondary packaging is for us a very large amount of spending in our P&L. In the past, we were doing the procurement for secondary packaging as one OPCO or one business, or at best like one region. Here, for the first time, we went a few weeks ago to the market as one Thai Union, covering the whole group. And I can tell you the results are very exciting. We get more savings compared to what we were expecting. And it's also one signal that you send to the market. You are saying, okay, Thai Union is ready for change. And we are willing to change our ways of working and to move to potentially new suppliers. Or we keep the same suppliers, but with more interesting conditions. Here, the key KPI, of course, will be the amount of spending. And as I mentioned, we do expect a very large amount of savings coming from this work stream, around $50 million. The second one I want to walk you through, which is the third pillar, is operation. And you know, originally we are a manufacturing company. By the heart, we are a manufacturing company. So we need to be successful here. Our business is successful when our operations are very efficient and very lean. We want here to reinforce. We want to maximize our network. We want to improve our efficiency. So what do we do here? We want to maximize our production capacity. We have to acknowledge that in some part of our business, we have to increase the percentage of utilization of our factories. How do we do that? We just optimize between our factories, all the layout and all the productions. The idea, of course, is to become more competitive and globally to decrease our cost of goods sold. It's also one area we want to standardize more our processes and we want to synergize between our different activities. So how do we execute that? So we started already a few months ago a very detailed review of our manufacturing footprint. We are also scaling up our operation excellence team, and I will elaborate on these two areas just after. And the idea is for us really to leverage the Thai Union network. I can tell you, we have a great network. We are already across the 3 continents, okay? And we want to develop and to leverage even more this network. I just want to share with you 2 examples. The first one is, over the past years, we were looking at manufacturing network, mostly by regions. So we had Asia, we had the US, and then we had Europe. And we were doing this because across the regions, there are some duties. So you cannot switch directly from one factory to another factory. Here, for the first time, we are looking at the overall ambient category. And within the ambient, we are looking at the ambient tuna, which is, of course, the majority of our manufacturing footprint. And here we say, okay, what can we change? Okay, what we've been doing over the past 20 years has to change at one stage. So one example is now, starting this year, we have our factory in Ghana supplying the US market. This is a big change for us, and it shows that we are ready to change. In terms of operation excellence, also we are doing one very large initiative, and we call this one the 4 walls improvement. Here, we sent a group of 4 to 5 Thai Union operation experts, supported by a group of 4 to 5 consultants also specialized in operations. And we send them to our factory in Ghana. They will stay there. They stay there really for 6 months and another 3 months. So total will be 9 months. And here what they do, they review in details all the operations. They find some macro battles and see how we can improve the operations, how can we optimize further. Again, this is very early stage, but we have some very nice results coming from these initiatives. And the idea is for the team to build up a manufacturing excellence playbook. We start with Wind Factory. The idea will be to roll out after in the other factories. So again, very excited about this work stream. The last work stream in the project SONA is digital. We have to acknowledge also in this field, we have some room for improvement within TU. We have to move from a traditional IT to a new digital function. So what do we want to do? First of all, we want to make sure we have data which are at the beginning of all our decisions making. Okay, you know already that we have been rolling out SAP over the past few years. There's been a very large investment over the past few years. We are almost done with the SAP implementation. More and more, we are also using BI for our decisions. We have a live access to our data. We don't need to wait as a CFO for the end of the month to get a view on the numbers. We have been changing also our structure. We want our digital structure to be more consistent with our strategy 2030. Risk mitigation, also in that area, is something which is important. You know, the risk, and especially cybersecurity risk, has been growing over the past few years. We built in our own capabilities in terms of cybersecurity, and now we feel ready, we can face with this new environment. So how do we execute this? We started by reorganizing completely the digital function. In the past, we had some IT people being in my own finance organization, or in HR, or in the operations. So we stopped that and we say, okay, all the people doing really digital activities, now they are part of one team and they have one leader. And I think it's a big change. Again, very nice opportunity for us to standardize our processes. The idea is for us to move to a co-creation between the digital function and the businesses. And by the end of H1 2025, we want to have a roadmap. We want to have our digital transformation roadmap, which is ready to be executed. We don't expect any savings from this work stream. The idea is for us to invest more. We have to acknowledge that the world has changed. Digital is becoming more and more important. We need to make sure we have the right people, the right system which are in place in order for Thai Union to be successful in the future. And now I will leave it to Paul to conclude on the SONA project. Thank you.
Thank you, Ludo. Very clear 4 work streams. We also want to share with you what we have in place in terms of governance, where we have a clear lines of ownership and accountability across the organization. SONA is naturally chaired by our Thai Union Board of Directors. They have signed off on the investment, they have signed off on the initiative, and we report back to the board. The global leadership team of Thai Union, the C-suite, we act as the transformation steering committee. We meet every other week for 2-3 hours and go through the progress of the program, and we are very much involved in the details of the execution and of the program. We have implemented a program structure that is chaired by each of our senior leaders. We have global leadership team members sitting on each of the work streams, working on a day-to-day basis with our organization and making sure that the program moves ahead and making sure that we're able to deliver, but where there are issues where we need to escalate, that we can quickly intervene and debottleneck. Thai Union also launched a transformation office at the beginning of this year. My team and I were heading up this program, and we are supported by our friends from Bain & Company on this program, who don't just provide the guidance that is needed, but also the expertise and the execution muscle. With that, on 2030 strategy and on SONA, I trust you are very clear on our path to drive growth, but also to execute with impact. I now hand over to Roy, who will share you iTail's plans on the pet care space, on how they intend to grow and on how they intend to execute. Thank you. Roy, over to you.
The pet care business is a very important business under Thai Union Group. Why is that important? Out of the $7 billion ambition, 1.5 will come from the pet business. A lot of pressure here. iTail has been outgrowing the global pet market in the last several years. While the global cat and dog food market is projected to grow at about 6% a year in the next 5 years. Aim to grow a lot faster and a lot more. And Project Tailwind will come in and help us capture this growth. Project Tailwind is a holistic, organic performance improvement program. Okay? There are 3 fundamental objectives underneath it. Capture additional margin, very obvious. Upgrading our capabilities by upskilling the internal talents we have, and also bringing in some new ones. And finally, to me, most important is to make sure that the transformation work will stick by revamping our processes, redesigning our structures, and also bring in some new tools to track our progress and performance. Like Sona, Project Tailwind is split into 3 integrated value streams to develop tangible results. They are commercial, manufacturing, and procurement. We have very bold ambition in Project Tailwind. The program is planned to deliver $50 million of annualized OP uplift by the year 2027. Unsurprisingly, the majority of it will come from the commercial value stream, up to $36 million, followed by manufacturing work stream, another 10 to 12. And finally, procurement value stream will chip in 5 to 6 million. The good news is that we don't have to wait until 2027 to see this money coming in. As of end of October last month, we are already seeing $3 million worth of committed benefits from the program. So what do I mean by committed benefits? I'm referring to purchase orders from our customers as well as contracts from us to our suppliers. These are written commitments that we can bank and therefore committed benefits. You can see that with these numbers, we are one step closer to our 2030 ambition. And I will take you through a little bit more into the details of each value stream. In commercial, we are taking a more data and insight-driven approach, analytics, to identify where to play. So what exactly do I mean when I say identify where to play? As you know, ITEL today is present in the what we call real meat sub-product category. Okay? The analytics is telling us by customer where the size of price is the most significant. And as a result, we can focus and concentrate on the biggest opportunity. And then our R&D and innovation capabilities will come in. With our track record, it is proven that we have reached a lot of successful examples there. It is important to point out the fact that out of the $3 million of committed benefits that I mentioned moments ago, over 2/3 of it comes from this value stream. I strongly believe that this is a recipe of success. Together with the 2 other value streams, which I will take you through a little bit more later on, we believe it will further strengthen our competitive advantage. Again, our ambition is to capture about $36 million of annual OP uplift from the program. In manufacturing, the name of the game is to boost productivity and build internal capabilities. By setting up a manufacturing war room, we add a lot more visibility to our real performance. Whenever there's a dip in performance, adjustments are made. And improvements are only recognized when new targets are met. Plus, the new targets need to be sustained for 2 weeks. At the same time, we'll fast track all of our CapEx projects that have short returns. And finally, with one Thai Union approach, we are bringing in the best practices within the group and share and use it, apply them in ITEL. All of these actions will translate into a lower cost per unit. We believe we will achieve 10 to 12 million of annualized saving by lowering our costs in energy consumption reduction, waste reduction, and productivity gains. Procurement. Like Paul just mentioned, or Ludo rather, we will take the one Thai Union approach. We will focus on the key categories: direct materials, secondary packaging, poultry. During the preparation process for tender, our teams have already established what we call clean sheet model. It will allow us to have a clearer understanding of the movement of each cost component. And by doing that, the teams are able to have fact-based negotiations. Through this process, we're not only building internal capabilities, we are also building a more resilient supply chain. Why? Because we will introduce more qualified suppliers to the program. And of course, we'll have to track our targeted savings of $5 to $6 million a year. Governance structure, strong sense of ownership, and accountability are the key fundamentals of success for every transformation project. In Tailwind, each value stream is sponsored by a senior executive. On top of that, our board of directors, as well as Thai Union Group's GLT members, are sitting at different boards to hold us accountable. They are also helping us to track and oversee the overall program movement. As Paul mentioned, we have established a transformation office to help us keep track on the movement and progress of the program. Together with our consulting partner, McKinsey in this case, I'm very sure that we are setting up ourselves for success in the program. Now, I'm passing the time to Ludo to wrap up the final chapter of the program.
Thanks a lot, Roy. So you heard Kunturapong, Paul, and Roy talking about our strategy. I hope you are also clearer on the implementation. How do we want to do that? So let me walk you through what does it mean in terms of numbers and also for the future. I just do a quick recap before going through the numbers. So you heard about our strategy 2030. You can see here on the left the project Sonar. I hope you understand now this is a group-wide project. And the idea is for us to lay the foundation for the future growth of Thai Union. For this program, we have a bold ambition, around $75 million of annual savings from 2026 onwards. As Paul mentioned, we plan for 40% of these savings to be reinvested in the business, like in marketing, in innovation, in people, or in sustainability. The last 2 years, 22, 23, because of hyperinflation, we had to cut our marketing investment. And we have to admit that our branded volume have been suffering from that. We told you at the beginning of the year, 24, one of the key ambitions for the year was to regain some volumes and to increase our marketing spend. So this is already happening, but we want to push further. Usually, we spend something around 3.5% of our branding NSV in marketing. This is too little. We want to increase this portion to 4.5, or even 5%. You heard about the 4 different work streams. So we have the Fit for Growth, the procurement, also the operation, and the digital. Each of them is being monitored by one of the top executives of Thai Union. And we all feel very committed on each of these work streams. On the right, you can see the project Tailwind. So the nature of this program is different from SONAR. This is a growth acceleration program. And also the scope is limited only to our pet food category. So it's different from SONAR. The timeline is also a bit longer compared to SONAR. It's 3 years, ending in 2027, compared to SONAR, which is a 2 years program. But here, once again, the ambition is bold. We want to have an uplift of $50 million coming from this work stream. Here again, we have 3 different initiatives. The first one is in commercial, and then manufacturing, and then procurement. Here again, for each of these work streams, we have some top executives of ITEL being accountable for each of them and reporting to the board of directors of ITEL. Of course, for these 2 projects, we are supported by some tier 1 consulting firms. And I have to say, this is the first time we are doing these kind of things of this magnitude within Thai Union. We were delighted that the board of directors of Thai Union accepted our proposal. This is very unusual for us, and we are strongly convinced we can achieve some great things with this kind of support. So now, what does it mean in terms of numbers? And before walking you through the numbers, I just want to remind you that when we discussed about these projects with the group leadership team, we said, okay, numbers, of course, it's a key point. But the most important point also, we want at the end of SONAR, at the end of Tailwind, we want Thai Union to be transformed. Even if we achieve these numbers, but if we fail on the scaling up of capabilities of Thai Union, we will not be happy. So the scale up in terms of capabilities is a key part of this one. So in terms of numbers, right now our revenue is around $4 billion, $3.9 billion. By 2030, we want to be at $7 billion, broken down in $6 billion organic and $1 billion coming from M&A. These imply a CAGR of 10%, of which 7 organic. And I will get back to this after. In terms of gross profit margin, when I joined this business in Thailand back in 2016, the gross profit margin was around 14-15%. It was a low base, to be frank. Usually our average was around 16-17. Now we are more in the range of 18.5 to 19%. So we have been doing well over the past few years already. By 2030, we want to be in the range of 21 to 23%. So again, a bold ambition, we want to transform. How do we do that? We want to work on our mixed categories. You know, we have 4 different categories with different level of profitability. 2 of them are much more profitable compared to the others, namely pet care and also our value-added business. Right now, these 2 categories, they represent 15% of our top line. By 2030, we want these 2 categories to represent between 25 to 30% of our business. The OP margin right now stands at around 5.5, 5.6%. We want to be around 8% by 2030. Again, a bold ambition on this one. And you can see the gross margin increase is higher compared to the OP margin increase. Why? Because again, we want to fund some increase in our marketing costs, innovation costs, and people costs. So in terms of EBITDA, what does it mean? Right now, for the year 24, after 9 months, we are already at $300 million of EBITDA. We do expect for the whole year 24 to be at $400 million, okay? By the way, that should be the second best ever performance in terms of EBITDA for Thai Union. So we are in a good shape. But by 2030, we want to almost double this amount of EBITDA. We want to move to a range of $700 to $800 million business. I just want to get back 1 second to the top line ambition that we show you here, because we talk about 7% organic growth. But at the beginning, you heard also Khun Tirapong telling you that over the past 10 years, the organic growth was around 1% only. So how do we reconcile these two numbers? If you break down a bit in our numbers, we have the non-frozen business. So the non-frozen business, this is a combination of ambient, pet food, and value-added. This business, over the past few years, has been growing organically by 4 to 5% every year. The ambient being a bit lower, 3% on average, the pet care around 9-10%, and the value-added by double digits. On the other side, our frozen business has been declining by 3 to 4% over the past years, and this is why the net organic is only 1%. You know, we have been right-sizing our frozen business over the past few years, especially in the US. Chicken of the Sea Frozen, which was the largest OpCo in terms of revenue a few years ago, around $1 billion, we decided in 2023 to right-size it to something between $500 to $600 million. We decided to move away from some category like lobster, which is too volatile or too risky for us, to really focus on the shrimps, the crabs, the fish, the other categories where Thai Union is producing. And I think that was a bold move on this one. We did also, over the past years, a bit of right-sizing in Europe, in our chill business. We closed some factories a few years ago in Poland and also in Scotland. But now we believe we are at the bottom of that. The frozen business is ready to be back on track and back to growth. And this is what we expect from this business in the next years. And we do believe by increasing our marketing, our efforts on people, on more innovation, we are really confident that we can achieve this 7% organic sales growth. I just want to walk you through also some early progress we have made here and there. The first one is on building the strong foundation. Of course, launching the Project Sonar was the first step. We did the diagnostic phase back in Q1, and we started the implementation in Q2. We already opened a new R&D center in Europe. You know that we have our GIC in Bangkok since many years, but our own assessment was to say maybe it's a bit too far away from the market, and we need to increase the weight of the research and development in our markets. And this is why we decided to open a new R&D center in the Netherlands. In terms of growth acceleration, you heard about Tailwind today, and Tailwind is really the key program for this growth acceleration. This is not the only one, though you understand that we want to push further for our marketing activities, and we do that already in 2024. In terms of growth also, Paul mentioned this one, M&A is back on top of our priorities. We have been looking already actively on the market over the past few months. We want to be very selective. We believe right now we have the critical mass, so we're not looking for only increasing the top line, but any M&A will have to make sense for us. It will have to be accretive for our business, or it will have to be a new country or a new species, but something which definitely makes a lot of sense. In terms of portfolio optimization, I mentioned already we did a lot over the past few years. The exit from Red Lobster was clearly the first step for us of this strategy 2030. It was a difficult decision to be taken at the end of last year. We did it, and I'm truly convinced we did the right choice. The fact to right-size also our US frozen business last year was also a difficult choice. But again, we are convinced all of this is going in the right direction. You heard me talking a lot also about capabilities. So here I mentioned procurement is one of the areas where we want to scale up. Digital is another area, but definitely the improvement of our capabilities is the one big target of this transformation program. Lastly, we are also expanding our marine portfolio. If you remember, we started by doing tuna crude oil. And then we moved to tuna refined oil, still very much focusing on tuna. Now we are doing omega-3 oil, cod liver oil, and we are extending to algae oil also. So our portfolio is wider, and we have some very exciting opportunities in that field. You heard also us talking about collagen. Our collagen factory is ready, and it is up and running over the past few months. So you can see we have already some tangible progress to share with you today, and more to come. We commit to you to share with you transparently and regularly the progresses on our Strategy 2030 and also on our transformation program. I have to say, after 12 years, I've been 12 years within this company. And this business, this is a passion for many people in this business. We are all food lovers, of course. And it's not an easy business, I can tell you. We have to fight every day. We are all fighters. We feel very excited, very ambitious. It's a challenging environment, of course. But we feel delighted. And it's a very strong incentive for the top management team to embark in this journey. So very happy and more to come. And now I will hand over to Khun Thiraphong to share with you some closing words. Thank you.
Thank you, Ludo. I do hope that you enjoy the details of our Strategy 2030 and the details of our 2 transformation programs. And I also hope that you get excited, as I do, in our growth journey. So let me conclude what you have heard this morning. With Strategy 2030, we will be a transformed organization, poised to become the world-leading marine health and nutrition company. Beyond the numbers, Strategy 2030 will make us simpler, leaner, and faster, centered around growth platform and business units. We will be able to harness the power of one Thai Union to achieve economy of scale and to create long-term value for our shareholders and free up capital for our strategic growth. Empower a customer, consumer-centric approach in all we do and build the culture of innovation and attract top-tier talent with capabilities to fuel our journey. And we will achieve all this with Strategy 2030. And to summarize what we have gone through with you, our ambition is to reach $7 billion in revenue and to double our EBITDA to $700 to $800 million by 2030. We will do this with 2 transformation programs. That is Project Sona, that will lay the foundation for our Strategy 2030, targeting $75 million of annualized saving from 2026 onward. And Project Tailwind, that will accelerate growth in our pet care, targeting for $50 million in annualized operating profit uplift from 2027 onwards. Strategy 2030 also consists of other growth initiatives we are currently working on, which to bring to life our ambition. I firmly believe that this will put Thai Union on the track to achieve sustained and long-term growth. And this is the most ambitious of our transformation journey and the most exciting as we look into the horizon to drive progress for generations to come. And thank you once again for joining us on this journey. ขอบคุณมากนะครับ สวัสดีครับ Thank you.
สุดยอดเลยค่ะ ขอเสียงปรบมืออีกครั้งให้กับคุณธีรพงษ์
Please give a big round of applause one more time to Mr. Thiraphong and all of our executives for sharing with us.
Mr. Thiraphong and all our speakers ต้องบอกเลยนะคะว่าสิ่งที่คุณธีรพงษ์ได้
What Mr. Thiraphong shared with us was a summary, a clear summary. And as for our strategic plan for Strategy 2030, which Thai Union is going to pursue in the next few years here, it is a transformation of the strategy for the organization for a new phase of growth and with a new amazing ambition and the target of $7 billion in revenue and an increase in the EBITDA as well by doubling the size of that by 2030. And all of this comes along with execution, an execution plan that is very clear and includes Project Sonar and Project Tailwind. And this will allow Thai Union to become a leader in the world's leading marine health and nutrition company, and it's not beyond reach.
That will bring Thai Union to another new growth phase with an exciting target $7 billion revenue and double EBITDA by 2030. All come with the details execution plan from both Project Sonar and also the Project Tailwind as well, which all the management believes that will definitely lead Thai Union to become one of the world leading marine health and nutrition company. ต้องบอกเลยนะคะว่าตอนนี้เนี่ยหลายคนอาจจะเริ่มมีคำถามแล้วนะคะ
Many people may have questions right now after listening to such an exciting plan. And for the Q&A session,
we would love to invite all the executives on the center of the stage once again for the Q&A session. ขอเสียงปรบมือต้อนรับผู้บริหารของเรา
please welcome all four speakers to the stage.
และก็ขออนุญาตชี้แจงนะคะว่าเรามีคำถาม
We have questions that have been sent in since the start of our session, so I would like to begin with the questions that were sent in first.
Start with the questions that have been submitted to us first. For the first questions, would love to ask คุณธีรพงษ์นะคะคุณช้าง What is the global economic outlook for 2025 and beyond? What are the positive factors and also challenges for Thailand? เชิญค่ะคุณช้าง
ครับก็ผมคิดว่า
I believe that the economic outlook for next year
ก็น่าจะไปใน
is we'll see an upward trend compared to this year. The various trends that are taking place right now, whether it's the interest rate that is lowering and will continue to lower. In addition to this, we have inflation as well, which is also on the declining as well. And this will see a recovery in purchasing because of this. And I believe that we are in a bright timing. We are prepared, we're poised since last year up to this year. And of course, I believe that the world situation, there is still much uncertainty. And with our growth, whether it's in terms of our cost competitiveness, our commercial excellence, all of these factors, including our improvements in capability, we will be able to capture the opportunities that will arise in the future.
So we recap a bit for the Kun Chang outlook for the economy. So Kun Chang pretty sure that the economic has been bottom up already, right? And we have seen the positive outlook, and Thai Union is also ready to take this chance to adapt ourselves and ready to take a big opportunity that are waiting for us in the future. So for the next question, I would love to ask Kun Paul for this. In terms of the business expansion plan, are there any additional product categories or markets that you have in mind?
Thank you for the question. I think it's a bit too early to go into the specifics in terms of what markets we're expanding to or what product categories, but what we can share with you is in line with our growth strategy, that in line with the 3 pillars we've shared on revitalizing the core, driving the next wave of growth, exploring new frontiers. We are assessing our current markets. We're assessing what can we do in adjacent markets. We're assessing our current portfolio, and we're also assessing what we can do to supplement our current product portfolio. So in line with our strategy, in line with driving that growth organically and inorganically, you will see over the course of the time that we will also consider business expansion and we will consider product portfolio expansion.
Thank you very much ค่ะคุณพอลก็สำหรับคำถามนี้นะคะถามว่าในแผนการขยายธุรกิจนะคะเราจะ
This question was about expansion in the product categories, new product categories or new markets. And is there anything that you share with us? Paul said that we can't share all the details in terms of the product categories that we're going to launch or new markets. They will be aligned with our 3 pillars, like Paul mentioned earlier, whether it's to help our major businesses grow sustainably, and we're still working in areas of our expertise. And I would now like to
This question is for คุณ Ludo นะคะ What is the projected performance outlook for Q4 and is this on the right trajectory for meeting of the strategy of 2030?
Thank you for the questions. So we just released last week our Q3 performance, and we did update our full year guidance. So for the full year, we expect a growth by between 3 to 4% in terms of revenue. We did increase our gross profit margin expectation also to 18.5 to 19%. We did also update our SG&A percentage forecast to 12.5 to 13%. I think the good thing is this year, every quarter, we have been improving versus last year, and we are also improving quarter on quarter. So we are happy with this one, and I believe, yes, we are right now on the good trajectory for the strategy 2030.
Okay, thank you very much ค่ะคุณ Ludo คำถามก็คือว่าเรื่องของ
So the question was about the projections for performance in the last quarter of this year, and are we on track? And the 4 executives told us earlier, Ludo told that the company just shared its performance results and for the 4th quarter, and he wants everyone to wait and see what's going to happen, and they expect us to grow by 3 to 4%, and the gross profit margin will be at about 18.5 to 19%. Everything is according to plan, and the company is moving on its path towards success, and they're very determined, very confident that they are on the right track, and on track with strategy 2030. And the next question.
This question is for both Kun Paul and Kun Roy. What are the opportunities for M&A or JV? What are your priority areas and what is expected investment amount? So can we start with Kun Paul first?
Thank you. Yes, on the investment amount, it's probably a little bit too early to share details on that. But what we can share with you is that within our $7 billion ambition, there is a $1 billion ambition coming from inorganic growth. We know half of that will come from iTail, from our pet care space. Roy will share more on that. The other half will come from opportunities that we've shared earlier on with you on not just pet, but ingredients. In the ingredient space, are there opportunities for us that are relevant? In the branded ambient space, are there other brands that are relevant for us? OEM frozen by looking at different sourcing countries and different products. And then lastly, in the aquaculture space. So these are opportunities we see in terms of inorganic growth across the 3 growth pillars of our strategy, under the revitalizing the core pillar, under driving the next wave of growth, and under exploring new frontiers. Roy, over to you to speak a bit on iTail.
Sure. As Paul just reminded us, the pet ambition when it comes to 2030, it is at $1.5 billion of top line. 1/3 of it will come from M&A. Okay? At this time, we're keeping our eyes open to look for every opportunity. What I can tell you is that we will be aggressive, but at the same time cautious. We will focus on pet food and pet food related business when it comes to the M&A target.
โอเคค่ะก็สำหรับคำถามนี้นะคะถามว่า
For this question, it was about the opportunities for M&A
สำหรับทั้งสองธุรกิจนะคะทั้งของ
for Thai Union and also ITEL.
จะมีโฟกัสไหมว่าจะ
Will there be a focus, any particular focus, and what do they expect for the capital expenditure? Paul said that may not be able to share that many details. But as explained earlier, in the $7 billion, $1 billion will come from new businesses, which will result from M&A, and part of it will come from ITEL as well. And Roy explained that in the pet food business, that's going to be aggressive execution. They're going to be careful as well along the way. And this is an important part of the plan. And Roy said that the top line 1.5 will come from ITEL. And in terms of ITEL, what's important is the M&A, and that will paint a better picture for us. And as for other businesses, Paul also reemphasized that it's all as explained earlier in this session, and they're going to be determined in terms of pursuing growth, continued growth in every main business.
So next question is the question for Kun Ludo นะคะ So what is the projected investment for the next 3 to 5 years, and what specific areas will it support?
I think there are two questions behind this one question. There is a first one which is behind the specific costs for Sona and Tailwind, and I will answer that. And there is a second one on the amount of capex which is also required behind our transformation and our growth program. So first of all, regarding the transformation cost, we do estimate over the next 2 to 3 years to have roughly between $50 to $60 million of consulting fees to support in order to support these two programs. We do acknowledge this is a very large investment. You have a portion of these fees which is fixed, some of the portion which are variable. So of course it will depend on the conclusion of this program. Just for you to have in mind, so we spend usually around $500 million a year in terms of SG&A. So it means that at Thai Union level, it will trigger an increase by 0.5% of our SG&A to sales percentage. Usually, on average, we spend 12.5%. So we'd expect we'll be close to 13% SG&A to sales. Again, it's a large investment, but we are very happy about this one. We believe we also needed some external support to do all of this. Honestly, by ourselves, we have to acknowledge we could not do it by ourselves. So definitely, a third-party consultant help was required. Now, if I move to the capex amount, we usually tell you we are comfortable with an amount of capex which is between 4.5 to 5 billion baht per year. We do expect this to happen over the next few years. There will be some years where it will be a bit smaller, like this year. We expect to spend a bit less compared to that. Very likely next year will be a bit above, but on average, I think an estimate of 5 billion baht for the capex amount over the next few years should be a good estimate.
Okay, thank you very much คุณ Ludo สิ่งที่คุณ Ludo อธิบายไปใน
As Ludo explained for the question just now,
ใหญ่นะคะของการลงทุนทั้งหมด
for capital expenditure, it'll come from two parts. One is from the savings from Project Sonar, and the other part will come from capex. The funds for the transformation, Ludo explained,
50 to 60 billion, right? Million each year, right?
Capex?
Yes.
Oh,
No, yeah.
$50 to $60 million
Each year.
on average over the
On
past 3
average,
years,
okay,ค่ะ
meaning $20 million on average per year.
โอเคก็ส่วนนี้เนี่ยนะคะก็น่าจะประมาณ 20
As Ludo said, it's about $20 million per year.
ที่มาจาก it's gonna come from Project Sonar, right? โอเคก็2 project นี้ที่อธิบายไป
And it will
นะคะ
come from the
ก็
two projects.
ได้เม็ดเงินขึ้นมาส่วนหนึ่งนะคะ
And that will-
ที่จะเอาไปลงทุนอย่างต่อเนื่อง
It will be
นะคะ
invested
นอกเหนือจากนี้เนี่ย
continuously.
นะคะในส่วนของ
And in addition to
ตัว
this,
capex เนี่ยนะคะก็
in terms of
อยู่ที่ประมาณ
capex, it will be at about
5 billion นะคะบาทนะ5,000 ล้าน
It'll be at about 5 billion baht.
อยากให้เข้าใจภาพนิดนึง
And
นะคะ
we'd
เดี๋ยว
like
หน่วย
to
ผิดนะคะเรา
explain
คุยกัน
this.
ดอลลาร์แล้วก็บาทนะคะ 5
We're talking
billion
in dollars.
บาทนะคะ
We're talking in
ต่อ
baht
ปี
now.
แล้วนะคะ
This is 5
ที่
billion
จะเกิ
baht.
ดขึ้นนะคะซึ่งก็จะทำให้
And this
SG&A
will allow the
เนี่ยนะคะ
SG&A to
ในช่วง
sales
หลังจากนี้เนี่ยนะคะ
after
ก็จะปรับ
this
ตัวเพิ่มขึ้น
to
เล็กน้อย
increase.
นะคะมาอยู่
It'll lead to an
ที่
increase in
ประมาณ
SG&A by about 13%.
for the SG&A to sales โอเคก็ปรับเพิ่มขึ้นมาเล็กน้อยนะคะแต่เพื่อรองรับ
So it's going to
นะคะ
increase a
กับการเติบ
bit,
โต
but
ภาพใหญ่
this is
นะคะที่
to
เรากำลังมองไป
allow for the expansion in the future for a new phase of growth at CAGR of 10%, as the four speakers explained for us. And this is a critical transformation for Thai Union. And the next question is for Khun Thiraphong.
From the recent U.S. election regarding the potential tariff that might affect us.
ผมคิดว่าณเวลานี้เนี่ยอาจจะ
I think that it's a bit too soon to determine the impact, but nonetheless,
ตามข่าวอย่างใกล้ชิด
we are closely monitoring the news.
ถ้าเกิดมีการ
And
ล
if
ด corporate
there
income
is a lowering in the corporate income tax from 21% to 15%, then this will lead to positive results for our business in the U.S.
ถ้าเป็นเรื่องของความกัง
And
วล
in terms of
ในการขึ้นภาษี
worries
นำเข้าสินค้า
regarding import tariffs,
ซึ่งจากที่เคยเกิดขึ้นในอดีต
what happened in the past, if we look at that,
ภาษีนำเข้ากับ
for
ประเท
the
ศจีน
import tariffs for China, if they increase, then that will be positive for other countries, including Thailand, and also other countries in Southeast Asia.
แต่ถ้ามีการขึ้นภาษี
If, however, there are import tariffs for every country imposed, then we don't expect any major impact for anyone because everyone is being subjected to the tariffs, and we will be able to handle our competitiveness.
ขอบคุณมากค่ะคุณช้างค่ะก็สำหรับคำถามนี้เนี่ยนะคะ so I wrap up in English a bit for all the management คุณช้าง told us that it's too soon to analyze the impact but he believes that it's going to be the positive impact for both the corporate tax that going to reduce to 15%. Definitely it's going to give the positive impact to the U.S. Corporate Thai Union U.S. corporate and also like for the trade tariff that gonna happen. So we don't know yet what's the scope of the trade tariff that gonna impact us. But if they have the direct trade tariff with China, definitely Thai Union will gonna benefit from this. And also if they have the trade tariff all over the world, I think Khun Chang thought that is not gonna be any impact in the negative way for the Thai Union as well. For the next questions, this question is could you please okay Khun Ludo ค่ะ Is strategy 2030 connected to your Sea Change 2030 strategy? What do you make sure your growth is responsible?
So yes, I can assure you sustainability now is in the heart of all our decisions. So we don't run the decisions in parallel, okay? Meaning now in every actions we are doing, we are looking at the impact in terms of environment and sustainability. So I can assure you that yes, definitely the strategy 2030 is fully connected to the Sea Change 2030, very ambitious program we did announce already last year. You could see also that we plan to reinvest a portion of the savings we plan to achieve through Sonar in sustainability. We told you last year we have 11 commitments that we took in different areas that we want to fund, and definitely Sonar will give us the means to do that. And yes, responsible growth is something which is very important for us, okay? In our business, we have no choice. Keep in mind that if one day there is no more fish in the oceans, there is no more business for us. So we always have to be extremely careful on that. The one thing which is good is in the past we were extremely strong in the tuna. Now we see change, we have been expanding to all the categories Thai Union is working on. So now I can tell you with the strategy 2030 and also the Sea Change 2030, we are addressing all the categories and all the species that Thai Union is working on.
ก็คุณลูโดอธิบายนะคะสำหรับคำถาม
Ludo explained about the question asking about the strategy 2030, how it connects with Sea Change 2030 that Thai Union had shared before. And so how can you make sure that the growth for Thai Union will be one that matches sustainability trends? Ludo explained that the strategy 2030 does harmonize with Sea Change 2030. It was created together with that. And it's not just about the products, about the seafood, but it's also Sea Change 2030 is going to be implemented with every product in every area for Thai Union to lead to sustainable growth in the future. One of the key investments for Project Sonar and Project Tailwind is investment for sustainable growth for the environment and also for Thai Union, according to the goals that Khun Thiraphong shared with us, which is healthy living, healthy oceans. And this is a question that deals with sea change.
I would love to address to Khun Paul นะคะ So คุณ Paul คะ you mentioned plan to expand branded ambient while scaling up OEM ambient as well. Is there a chance that this will cannibalize the same market?
Thank you for that. So we believe the two can coexist. Over the last 10 years, you have seen since we invested in the branded business in Europe, we can both run our branded ambient business and our OEM ambient business, so the two can go in harmony and coexist. Truly, in the spirit of One Thai Union, we also want to be able to serve all the consumers that are out there, the consumers that wants to buy a branded product, but also the consumer that wants to buy a private label product. On the innovation side, as you've seen, we have invested significantly into a branded ambient innovation hub. We firmly believe that product innovation will play a crucial role in our strategy in ambient, and potentially that can also set the tone for some of our OEM work.
ก็ทางเรื่องนี้เนี่ยนะคะที่มีคำถามเข้ามาเกี่ยวกับเรื่อง
There
ว่า
was a question about the plan for expansion in the branded ambient food
product ที่มีแบรนด์ของทาง Thai Union นะคะกับตัวของ
and for Thai Union and also scaling up the OEM. And these two markets, will they cannibalize one another? And Paul explained that they will not cannibalize one another for sure. And there are two markets, there are two spaces for growth, for continuous growth. And what's important, and that's important, and in terms of product innovation, this will allow for consumers, customers, whether they are customers who want private labels or who buy directly from brands of the company itself, this will provide better solutions.
For the next questions also, I would love Khun Paul to answer for this one. For Thai Union Group, followed by, what will be the most challenging factors to not making the target by 2030? What challenges do you see in the execution? Okay, we start with Khun Paul first for this, sorry.
Okay. Of course, there are a lot of challenges out there, as Khun Thiraphong shared with you, but we don't intend not to deliver on the 2030 strategy. As you have seen for us, it's crucial, it's core that we deliver on our own growth expectations, that we stick to the priorities within the 3 pillars of growth, within revitalizing the core, within driving the next wave of growth, and within exploring new frontiers. And most importantly, that we execute, that we deliver on Sonar, and that we deliver on Tailwind. With that, we're very confident, we're very positive that we can deliver on the target set in the 2030 strategy.
Okay ค่ะ คุณรอยคะ
So not repeating what Paul just said. For me, when I share with you one of my slides, I made it very, very clear that for me, the most important thing is to make sure that all the good works that we are doing will stay and will stay for a very long time. Okay? So this is, for me, my number one challenge or number one worry. However, we are also revamping our processes, we are redesigning our structure, and we are bringing in new tools to help us track the performance. So I believe these challenges could be eliminated.
โอเคค่ะก็คำถามก็คือว่าจะมี
The question was about challenges that will make Thai Union unable to reach its target in 2030, and what about in terms of execution? And both Paul and Roy, Paul said that he's very confident that the target is for us to approach, to challenge ourselves, and Roy said that the challenge is, the plan is very solid, both Sonar and Tailwind, and if they can achieve the plans, then they will achieve the goals. And is there anything that will not be able, that was unable to achieve this? Roy and Paul both said, and all of the managers said, that they will execute the plans, they will use new tools, and they will monitor and track all of the processes that are used to revitalize the organization and business so that they do indeed achieve the targets.
คุณลูโดคะ Can you provide a breakdown of $75 million in terms of cash saving and cost saving? How fast can we expect this to happen?
So the breakdown we can share today, you saw that I think on the slide, the $75 million, so it's only related to Sonar. And the breakdown is $50 million coming from procurement, $20 million coming from operations, and $5 million coming from Fit for Growth. And all of these will be, of course, a combination of cash savings and cost savings. How fast? I think few things. I get back to the example of the secondary packaging initiative we just launched. So for you to understand, we did a tender already a few weeks ago. Now, of course, we need to get the product in. We need to manufacture them, to process them. We need to send them to our commercial entities. And then finally, our commercial entities, they have to sell to their end customers. So some initiatives are quick. Some others are much longer, okay? And it can take 6, 9, 12 months from the beginning of the initiative. So we do expect from Sonar very little impact in 24, to be frank, and then it will grow up in 25 and more to come again in 2026. So it will gradually increase over the next 3 years.
โอเคค่ะก็คำถามนี้นะคะอยากให้ break down นะคะ
The question was for a breakdown of the $75 million cash savings.
ที่คุณลูโดได้ present ไป
And Ludo
50นะคะ
shared that $50 million will come from procurement, 20 will come from operations,
Fit for Growth นะคะก็จะเป็นเนี่ยก็จะแยกให้เห็นแล้ว
And you can see the different parts.
5 Fit for Growth เนาะ
5 is for Fit for Growth, 50 is procurement, and 20 is from operations.
แล้วก็ถามว่าจะเห็นได้เร็วแค่ไหน
And how fast will we see this?
จะเริ่มเห็นนะคะตั้งแต่
We will see this from the next 3 years.
เริ่มแล้วนะคะ25 26ก็จะค่อยๆ
2024, 2025, 2026, you will see a gradual change.
เกิดขึ้นนะคะสำหรับเรื่องของไม่ว่าจะเป็นเรื่องของการ
Whether
lean
it's
ต้นทุนลงมา
in terms
นะคะ
of
ที่คุณ
leaner
บอกไว้นะคะว่า
costs.
จะไปได้ไวขึ้น lean ขึ้นนะคะแล้วก็วิ่งได้เร็วขึ้นด้วยนะคะซึ่งทั้งหม
So
ด
Thai Union will become
ก็
faster,
เริ่มแล้ว
leaner,
นะคะ
and all of this has
น่าจะ
begun
ทำให้
already.
ทุกท่านเนี่ยได้เห็นภาพพร้อมๆ
So that
กัน
is
นั่นเอง
a clearer
นะคะ
picture for all of
โอเค
us.
ค่ะคุณช้างมีอะไรอยากจะเสริมตอนท้ายไหมคะ
ครับ
Kun Tirapong would like to add,
ปิดท้ายนะครับ
I'd like to
ผมต้องเรียนว่า
share that
ผมและทีมงานเนี่ย
the team and
ความ
I,
พอใจ
we are
กับ
satisfied
ที่เราเนี่ย
with
คุยเกี่ยวกับเรื่อง growth
our growth,
นะครับเราค่อนข้าง
our
ดีใจ
discussion on growth, and we are
วัน
very
นี้เราต้อง
happy
การจะ bring growth back
to bring growth back to our business. I believe that this is very
นะ
important.
ครับแล้วนอกเหนือจากนั้นเนี่ย
And
สิ่งที่ผม
in
ดี
addition
ใจ
to
ก็คือ
that, another thing that makes me happy is that thanks to our strong financial position, if you look at our net debt to equity, which is at 0.79, we are very ready to invest.
M&A topic
Our M&A
เราไม่ได้ดูเรื่องนี้มาหลายปี
topic,
แล้ว
we have
นะครับ
not
เป็นเรื่องที่ผม
touched on this for many
ค่อนข้าง
years,
พอใจ
but this is very
strategy
satisfactory.
2030
Our strategy
ผมเชื่อว่า
2030, I
เป็น
believe that
strategy
it is a
ที่ค่อนข้าง
strategy
robust
that
มาก
is very robust.
นอกเหนือจากนั้นแล้
In
ว
addition to that,
ทีมของเรา
our
เนี่ย
team,
เมื่อเทียบกับ
compared
5-10
to
ปีที่ผ่านมาเนี่ย
the past 5 or 10
ผมบอกว่าเรา
years,
มีทีมที่
we have a
เก่ง
team
ขึ้น
right now that is
แข็งแรง
very
ขึ้น
much more
และไม่
talented,
เพียงแต่
much
เท่านั้น
stronger, and not
เรา
only
ยัง
that,
มีความ
we
การเตรียม
also
พร้อม
are
นะครับใน
prepared
การทำเรื่องของ transformation
in terms of transformation.
transformation 2 โปรแกรมนี้
The 2 transformation
เป็น
projects
transformation
are
ที่
transformations that
สำหรับ Thai Union
the greatest transformations that Thai Union will have ever
เป็นการปรับเปลี่ยน
undertaken.
องค์กรของเรา
It's a transformation of our organization all over the
แล้ว
world.
สิ่งที่สำคัญ
And what is important
แสดง
is
ให้
that
ทุกคนได้เห็นนะครับว่า
for all of you to see, Thai Union
proactive
is proactive at all times.
นะครับแน่นอน
And of course,
ในการที่จะทำแต่ละเรื่องเนี่ยมันต้องมีความท้าทาย
In each,
นะครับมันคง
in
ไม่ง่าย
every case, it's
แต่สิ่ง
challenging.
ที่เราพยายามทำ
But what we're trying to do continuously is that we're trying to make ourselves
ทำให้ตัว
agile
เรา adapt
so that we can adapt,
แล้วก็ commit
and we are committed
target
to our targets that we have
สิ่งที่
set.
เราสัญญาได้และ
And
บอกได้
we
ก็คือ
promise
เราไม่
that we
ล้มเลิก
will
ในการที่
never
deliver
give up.
เป้าหมาย
We will never stop delivering on our objectives, and we're all fully committed in achieving these goals. So thank you to everyone.
ขอเสียงปรบมือตรงนี้ให้คุณช้าง
Can we have a big round of applause for Kun Tirapong, please?
Very confident and more than ready to implement all the strategy 2030 so อันนี้คือภาพที่คุณช้างนะคะได้ ทิ้งท้ายไว้ให้นะคะซึ่งตอนนี้เราอยากจะขอ
And we would now like to open the floor to questions here in the conference hall. If you have any questions, please raise your hand.
For the one who in this ballroom and would love to ask the questions, please specify your name and your organization before ask the questions as well นะคะมีคำถามไหมคะถ้ามียกมือได้เลยนะคะเดี๋ยวจะมีทีมงานเอาไมค์ไปให้
If you have any questions, please raise your hand and we will send you a microphone. And please let us know where you're from and share your name with us as well.
มีไหมเอ่ยเดี๋ยวอาจจะขอช่วยมองนิดนึงนะคะโอเคค่ะต้องบอกว่าด้านหลังค่ะโอเคค่ะสวัสดีค่ะขออนุญาตแนะนำ
Yes, we have a question from the back. Could you please tell us your name and where you're from?
สวัสดีครับชาตรีจาก
I'm Chatri from
นะครับ I would like to ask one question regarding the potential M&As. Are there still any potential small ambient seafood brands anywhere in the world that you think could be potential targets for Thai Union?
As we shared in the presentation, aside from our pet care, where we have a goal to have an M&A that will lead to revenue of over $500 million. Aside from that, we're going to look at opportunities in our other core businesses, and of course, this includes ambient seafood. But it's not just ambient seafood. We are also taking a look at our frozen business unit, our ingredients business unit, which is also a very key business for us, our ready meals. We are very open for all opportunities. So,
ขอบพระคุณมากค่ะก็
thank you very much.
The questions asking about the M&A คุณช้าง mentioned that it's not just only the pet food but in all categories that Thai Union has been operated including the ambient food as well so we are open for the opportunity for M&A so let's see what's gonna happen in the next 6 years from now right now there are some more questions นะคะ submitted to us this one I would love to ask คุณธีรพงศ์นะคะ what set this strategy apart from the previous one do you have the confidence that it can be achieved
จริงๆแล้วเนี่ยนะครับถ้าเราพูดถึง strategy
If we talk about strategy from our 2020 strategy, from 2020 onwards,
เรามีความ
we are very pleased with our strategies. We're confident in them. And if you remember, if you can recall, back at that time, we faced a lot of headwinds. And it wasn't just Thai Union that experienced this. The headwinds that they were faced by in the entire country of Thailand, whether it's sustainability, in 2014, 2015, when Thailand was downgraded in terms of human trafficking, and Thailand got the yellow card from the IIU, and we were also criticized for antitrust in the U.S. And it took us 4 years to resolve that issue. And we had COVID-19. And of course, we also have to blame ourselves. But we want you to see that the situation is quite a difficult one. And in terms of Strategy 2030, of course, as we shared in the beginning, what is certain is that there is always uncertainty. So I can't answer about things that we cannot foresee. But nonetheless, we believe that Strategy 2030, we're doing very well with this. We are prepared organizationally for transformation with 2 projects, and these 2 programs or projects, in addition to savings that they will lead to, another key result is talent. We'll see talent capability improvement. We will attract top-tier talent to our organization. And I believe that all of these things that we are undertaking, that they will enable us to achieve our 2030 goals. to a higher degree.
ได้บอกไว้นะคะว่ารอบนี้เนี่ยนะคะไม่เหมือนเดิมนะคะเพราะฉะนั้นแล้ว
So Khun Tirapong said that this is a new round for us.
This strategy 2030 is pretty confident because everything changed and this time is different นะคะ Back to the last strategy I believe that there's a lot of headwinds that today is not much that headwinds anymore. So he's pretty confident that the strategy 2030 can be achieved in the future. The next one, Kun Ludo, between sales growth and EBITDA, do they need to come together? Can perfect growth be achieved without the sales growth?
So I think in the numbers we disclosed to you today, definitely sales and bottom line have to come together. We will not be able to achieve the $700 to $800 million EBITDA we are targeting for 2030 if there is no sales growth. So yes, definitely they will have to come together. Of course, you can always tweak a bit, and you can see over the past few years, we have been able already to improve our gross profit margin while our top line was not that huge in terms of growth. But definitely in order to achieve these numbers, they will have to come both together.
โอเคค่ะคำถามคือว่าระหว่างการเติบโตของยอดขาย
The question was that growth between sales and from revenue and EBITDA, do they have to go together? And Ludo said yes, they have to come together, and everything, you will see everything come at once.
So Ludo คะ one more question for you. Please provide more details on the capex plan for the Sonar and Tailwind.
So at this stage, we don't have any very large capex related to Sonar and Tailwind. We do believe we'll be able to absorb some of these capex in our normative capex, which is around 5 billion baht a year that I mentioned. We mentioned that we will scale up our digital capabilities. So yes, it will mean some capex on this one, innovation also, and some other piece. But overall, we don't expect very large capex coming from these two projects. So that should be absorbed in our normative capex every year.
โอเคค่ะก็ถามเข้ามาเกี่ยวกับเรื่องของรายละเอียดของ
The question was about the funds for investment in capex for Sonar and Tailwind, how much will be used, and Ludo said that we don't require increased capex funds. It'll be at the normal level of 5 billion baht for both projects. And we have another question for Mr. Tirapong.
Reduction of cost would it involve lowering number of staffs of Thai Union Group?
ก็ต้องขอบคุณสำหรับความห่วงใยนะครับ
We thank you for your concern, and we want to share with you that Project Sonar
ไม่ใช่เป็นโปรแกรม
is not a project for cost savings. It's a program for us to reorganize our organization to make it simpler, leaner, and faster. And if we take a look at the different work streams, you can see that the work stream that will lead to cost savings, the highest level of cost savings, is the procurement work stream, where we use One Thai Union to drive our economies of scale. Aside from that, in terms of manufacturing, we will focus on increasing our productivity, our quality in the various areas as well. So we can all rest assured that we will elevate the entire organization, not just lowering of the labor force.
Not related to the lowering the number of staff, but then to the target of to be simpler, leaner, and faster. So it's going to be uplift over the process of the Thai Union. And last questions นะคะขออนุญาตเป็นคำถามสุดท้ายสำหรับคุณลูโดนะคะ So คุณลูโดคะ as part of the project Sonar, would there be any potential divestiture or impairment happen?
So I think at this stage there is none. If you remember when we did exit from Red Lobster last year, that was a big decision that we took, and of course we recorded this very large impairment. But of course, this is a dynamic exercise. I give you one example. I told you that right now we are performing a detailed review of our manufacturing footprint. We are not done yet with this exercise, and this exercise likely will take 1 year from now. And then we'll take some decisions if need be on our manufacturing footprint. But as of today, there is none.
โอเคค่ะก็คำถามว่าแล้วด้วยเรื่องของ Project Sonar ที่ตั้งเป้าจะ
So
ลด
about
เรื่องของ
Project
ต้นทุน
Sonar, you're going to reduce the cost number. You're going to divest. Ludo said no, not at this time, but after this, a year later, we will take a look at the manufacturing. There could be some development there or not. We'll inform you later. So that is a complete picture for the strategy 2030. 6 years from now, for Thai Union Group, the entire group is a new path towards growth, and the goal is going to be up to $7 billion, and EBITDA will increase as well by doubling the size. A big round of applause for our 4 executive speakers.
Thank you all for joining us today, and please do take time to explore
ขอบคุณนะคะทุกท่านที่มารวมในร่วมงานวันนี้นะคะแล้วก็เชิญไปชั้น 2 ด้วยนะคะเพื่อรับประทานอาหารนะคะ
แล้วกลับมาพบกันใหม่ในโอกาสหน้าวันนี้ลาไปก่อนสวัสดีค่ะ